I bet you probably spent a good chunk of last weekend doing what we all do.
Oh, the frantic spring cleaning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Scrubbing your kitchen counters, mopping the floors, wiping down the bathrooms to protect your family from germs.
Right, because it's March 11th, 2026, and everyone's got that spring cleaning fever right now.
We absolutely obsess over the visible surfaces. But there is actually a hidden, dark network of metal tubes behind your drywall right now.
And it is definitely not clean.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It is likely exhaling decades of accumulated dead skin, pet dander, and mold spores directly into your living room.
Every single time your air conditioner kicks on.
Every time. And it's wild because we meticulously clean the spaces we walk through, but we completely ignore, the mechanical lungs of the house.
It's basically the ultimate blind spot in home maintenance.
Totally. So today, we are shining a massive spotlight into those mechanical lungs. Welcome to today's deep dive.
We've got a really fascinating stack of sources for this one.
We do. We're looking at regional HVAC diagnostic reports, indoor air quality studies, and climate data, specifically mapped to the southeastern U.S.
Which is key, right, because the regional focus is vital here.
Right. And our mission today is to unpack the hard, long-term value of professional residential air duct cleaning, with a highly specific focus on the environmental reality of Atlanta, Georgia.
Because air quality management in an arid climate is a completely different science than managing it in the Deep South.
Exactly. We are looking at the actual physics and biology of indoor air quality and how managing it translates into a real structural investment for your home.
It's not just about dusting.
Not at all. But before we get into the mechanisms hiding behind your vent covers, I want to quickly introduce the sponsor making this specific analysis possible.
Oh, yeah, they are fantastic.
They really are. It is Hurricane Group Cumming. You should honestly save this number in your phone right now. It's 4044-999-1605.
404-999-1605. Got it.
Yep. They are the leading specialists in HVAC hygiene and property restoration in the region. They provide IICRC certified solutions, and their expertise covers like a really holistic range of home care services.
Right. It's not just one thing.
Exactly. We are talking about residential air duct cleaning in Atlanta, Georgia, emergency water damage restoration, dryer vent cleaning to prevent fire hazards, and even high-end home renovations.
They're essentially the benchmark for this kind of structural care.
They are. And looking at the climate data from our sources, that level of professional intervention isn't just a luxury in Atlanta.
No, it's a mechanical necessity.
Let's get into the why. Because the
Yeah.
sources talk extensively about the specific atmospheric cocktail in Atlanta.
Oh, it's a very unique cocktail.
It's not just regular household dust we're dealing with. It is a highly specific combination of extreme humidity and massive heavy pollen counts that completely alters the interior environment of your ductwork.
What's fascinating here is how the climate changes the physical chemistry of the dust.
Okay, let's unpack this because I think people just picture like dry fuzz.
Right. And if you cut open a duct in a dry climate like Arizona, you do find loose granular dust.
It just sort of sits there.
Exactly. It's easily disturbed and relatively inert. But Atlanta's environment completely changes the chemistry of that buildup.
Because of the humidity.
Yes. Think about it. During the summer, your ductwork is basically cold metal carrying chilled air.
Right.
So the ambient humidity in the house condenses on that cold metal. And when the microscopic pollen particles, which easily bypass standard cheap air filters, by the way,
Oh, of course they do.
when they mix with everyday dust and pet dander inside a wet, dark tube, they actually bind together.
Wow. Okay, let me use an analogy here. The HVAC system is basically the cardiovascular system of your home, right?
That's a great way to put it.
And instead of a layer of dry dust, you are getting something more like plaque building up in your arteries, like wet paper mache pasting itself to the interior walls.
The industry term for it is actually Georgia sludge.
Georgia's sludge. That sounds incredibly gross.
It is. It is a thick, sticky organic paste. And because it is organic and it retains moisture, it ceases to be just a physical blockage.
It becomes biological.
Exactly. It becomes a biological breeding ground. The dark, damp, cold environment of the ductwork is literally the ideal incubator for microbial growth and mold.
So your air conditioning is basically running over a damp, moldy sponge.
Yes.
And then just distributing those microscopic spores into the bedrooms.
Every single time the blower motor engages.
That is terrifying.
It gets worse. The architecture of the house often compounds this biological threat through a phenomenon called the stack effect.
Oh, right. The sources break down the stack effect brilliantly.
They really do.
Because instead of the old, heat rises chimney cliche,
Yeah.
they describe it more like drinking from a straw that has a hole in the side of it.
Right, because of the vacuum it creates.
Exactly. As the warm air in your house naturally rises and escapes through the attic, it creates a negative pressure zone at the lowest levels of the home. It physically pulls air upward to replace what escaped.
And in many older Atlanta homes, that lowest point is an unsealed, highly humid crawl space, or a damp basement.
So wait, how much air are we talking about?
Up to 50%.
Yeah.
Up to 50% of the air you breathe on the first floor of your home is actually being sucked up through the floorboards and structural gaps straight from that crawl space.
You are literally inhaling the crawl space.
Yes. So if that area is damp and harboring mold, the stack effect is violently pulling those contaminants right into the main living areas.
Where it gets sucked right into the HVAC return vents, basically feeding that Georgia sludge.
Exactly. It becomes a closed-loop system of total contamination.
Okay, but let me challenge the necessity of fixing this right this second.
Sure.
Because professional duct cleaning sounds, honestly, incredibly invasive and expensive. If I don't see it and I don't have asthma and I don't actively feel sick, why should I care?
That's the most common pushback.
Right. Isn't it easier to just ignore it? Prove to me why a completely healthy person needs to drop money on this.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the medical data in the sources points to the insidious nature of systemic inflammation.
Meaning you don't have to be wheezing to be affected.
Precisely. You don't need to be actively gasping for air to be suffering the effects of poor indoor air quality. When your immune system is constantly exposed to low-grade allergens
Like the mold spores and the aerosolized pet dander.
and dust mite droppings, your immune system remains in a chronic state of heightened alert,
So your body is basically constantly fighting a low-level war.
which drains your overall energy. You might just think you are, I don't know, tired from work, or you have a mysterious lingering headache.
But it is actually your immune system burning resources just to filter the air you are breathing while sitting on your couch.
The physiological toll is very real, and the timelines for intervention are highly specific based on your life.
Right, the sources mention that. For a standard, relatively clean Atlanta home, what's the recommendation? Every 3 to 5 years.
Yes, a professional deep clean every 3 to 5 years is the baseline. But there are several scenarios that accelerate that timeline dramatically.
Like pets.
Oh, especially pets. If you have pets that shed heavily, or if you have toddlers whose respiratory systems are still developing.
Or renovations. The sources highlight recently renovated houses.
Renovations are huge. Tearing out drywall creates an incredibly fine, abrasive silica dust that gets sucked directly into the return vents.
And just coats the blower motor.
Exactly. In those scenarios, pets, kids, recent construction, you need to be clearing those ducts every 2 years just to maintain a safe, non-inflammatory baseline.
Wow, every 2 years. Okay, so that covers the biological ROI, the health aspect.
Yeah.
But there's a massive mechanical and financial return on investment here too, right?
Massive. The sources dive into the physics of static pressure inside the HVAC system.
Static pressure.
Yeah. When that sticky Georgia sludge coats the walls of the ducts, it physically narrows the passageway.
So the blower motor is suddenly trying to push the exact same volume of air through a much tighter, heavily textured tunnel.
Right. And to do that, the blower motor has to draw significantly more electrical amperage to force the air through that restriction.
It's working overtime.
It is working overtime, generating excess heat within the motor housing itself.
The system is literally suffocating.
Yeah,
And pulling more amps means pulling way more electricity from the grid.
exactly. By professionally stripping that sludge and restoring the original diameter of the ductwork, you drop the static pressure.
Which saves money.
A lot of money. The data shows this optimization can lower monthly summer energy consumption by up to 15%.
A 15% drop in a July air conditioning bill in Georgia, that pays for the service on its own over time.
Absolutely. But more importantly, because the blower motor isn't running hot and straining against that pressure 24/7, you are preventing premature, catastrophic motor failure.
Because replacing a burnt-out HVAC unit is vastly more expensive than maintaining it.
You're extending the functional lifespan of a system that costs thousands of dollars to replace.
Which is exactly why the reputation of our sponsor, Hurricane Group Cumming, Makes so much sense here.
They really get the mechanics of this.
They do. They aren't just wiping the dust off your vent registers to make things look pretty. They are actively protecting the mechanical lifespan of your home's most expensive appliance.
That's the real value.
And they have over 800 five-star reviews, specifically because they deliver that tangible financial and structural protection. They offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on their residential air duct cleaning in Atlanta, Georgia.
That kind of guarantee is rare.
It is. So if you want to drop that static pressure and protect your AC unit, you can call them 247 at 404-999-16005. They handle this preventative maintenance all the way up to emergency water damage response.
You know, the distinction you just made between wiping down a vent cover and actually stripping the ductwork, that brings up a crucial technical gap.
Oh, the DIY aspect?
Yes. Homeowners often vastly underestimate the sheer physics required to remove this specific type of buildup.
I'm so glad you brought this up. Let's talk about the DIY trap, because I guarantee someone listening has a heavy-duty 6-horsepower shop vac sitting in their garage right now.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
And they are thinking, why can't I just pop the vent cover off, shove the vacuum hose down as far as it will go, and call it a day, save myself the phone call?
That is universally highlighted in the sources as the single most counterproductive mistake a homeowner can make.
Really? Worse than doing nothing?
Yes. A standard shop vac operates on high air velocity but relatively low air volume. But more importantly, it completely lacks absolute containment.
Containment, meaning when you shove a hose down a vent, you aren't sealing the opening.
Right. You are just creating a highly turbulent vortex of air inside the duct.
So you're just stirring up the Georgia sludge without actually capturing it all.
Exactly. You end up violently disturbing the dormant mold spores and the dried portions of the sludge. And because the vacuum isn't sealed, and because standard shop vac filters cannot trap microscopic mold spores,
Oh, no.
you end up blasting millions of highly concentrated particulates backward directly into your living space.
You literally take a contained problem and aerosolize it throughout the entire house.
You make the air quality exponentially worse. True extraction of Georgia sludge requires industrial physics.
Okay, so what does that actually look like?
The sources detail a proprietary 4-step pure air process. It's overseen by Liran, a lead specialist at Hurricane with over 15 years of experience in the field.
15 years, so he's seen it all.
Absolutely. It is a highly engineered sequence that relies on massive equipment. Step 1 removes the guesswork entirely. It is a full system diagnostic.
Using a camera, right?
Yes. Technicians deploy a fiber optic camera deep into the twists and turns of the ductwork to visually map the sludge and locate specific mold hotspots before they even turn a machine on.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because they are looking at the actual topography of the contamination.
Exactly. Once they map it, they move to step 2, which is where the heavy physics come into play. It's called negative pressure isolation.
So no more unsealed shop vacs.
Right. They seal every single supply and return vent in the entire house. Then they attach a massive truck-mounted HEPA-filtered vacuum directly to the main trunk line of the HVAC system next to the furnace.
They are basically creating an artificial atmosphere inside your home's ductwork.
By pulling thousands of cubic feet of air per minute out of the trunk line, they create a one-way vacuum tunnel.
So every cubic inch of air is moving forcefully toward the extraction truck, ensuring zero blowback into the living room.
Precisely. But the vacuum alone, no matter how strong, isn't going to pull wet paper mache off metal walls.
Right, because of the sticky nature of the sludge.
So that requires step 3, mechanical scrubbing. While that massive negative pressure is pulling, technicians feed specialized pneumatic agitation tools down the vents.
These are essentially high-speed, flexible whips powered by compressed air, right?
Yes. The whips violently and rapidly scour the interior metal walls, physically breaking the molecular bond of the sticky sludge.
And because of the vacuum?
As soon as the whip chips a piece of sludge off the bare metal, the negative pressure instantly rips it out of the house and into the containment truck outside.
It is a totally synchronized, two-pronged attack. Agitation breaks it loose, negative pressure removes it.
Exactly. And step 4 finishes the process with an optional but highly recommended EPA sanitization.
Because once you have exposed the bare metal, you want to ensure it stays sterile.
Right. So they introduce a safe, non-toxic, eco-friendly antimicrobial fog into the airstream.
And that fog travels the exact same path the air does, coating the freshly scrubbed metal.
It kills 99.9% of any microscopic bacteria left behind and leaves a protective microscopic barrier that prevents mold from finding a foothold during the next humid summer.
And the sources note it is completely safe for kids and pets to breathe.
Completely safe. So the contrast between a homeowner with a plastic garage vacuum and a professional team utilizing truck-mounted negative pressure, pneumatic whips, and antimicrobial foggers, it's night and day.
It's a fundamentally different operation. But let's look at the day after the cleaning. We have ripped the sludge out. We have sterile, bare metal, but the house is still in Atlanta.
The humidity is still 80% outside.
The pollen is still falling. So how do you protect that pristine investment? We have to move from the act of cleaning to the strategy of active environmental prevention.
A clean duct system is vulnerable if you don't address the gatekeeper.
The air filter?
Yes, the air filter. The vast majority of homes use standard, cheap, 1-inch fiberglass filters. The industry jokingly refers to these as boulder catchers.
Boulder catchers?
Yeah.
Because they only stop the massive stuff.
Right. They stop dog hair, leaves, and large dust bunnies from physically striking the blower motor, but they are completely porous when it comes to microscopic threats.
Smoke, mold spores, and fine pollen pass right through them.
Exactly. To protect the newly cleaned system, the sources emphasize upgrading to high-capacity HVAC media filters. We are looking at MERV ratings, that's minimum efficiency reporting value of 11 to 16.
The mechanism of a media filter is fascinating because instead of a flat 1-inch piece of fiberglass, a media filter is 4 to 5 inches thick, folded into deep, tight accordion pleats.
Right. A standard 1-inch filter might have 2 square feet of filtering surface. A pleated media filter can have up to 30 square feet of filtering material packed into the exact same slot.
That massive surface area is the key, isn't it?
It is. It slows the velocity of the air down as it passes through the media, allowing the dense fibers to track 98% of airborne particulates down to a single micron.
Wow.
And because there is so much surface area, it doesn't choke the blower motor or restrict airflow. Plus, it only needs to be replaced every 6 to 12 months.
Okay, so that stops the physical dust and the pollen. But what about the biological threat? What else can we do to fight the humidity? Because what happens when that deep southern humidity inevitably condenses on the cold air conditioning coils again?
How do you stop the mold from restarting?
Exactly.
The advanced solution detailed in the diagnostic reports is the integration of high-intensity UVC germicidal lamps directly inside the air handler.
Wait, isn't this the exact same technology used to sterilize surgical suites in hospitals?
Yes, it is hospital-grade technology. The evaporator coils inside your AC unit are constantly dripping with condensation and sitting in pitch blackness. Left alone, they develop bioslime.
Oh, bioslime, another gross industry term.
It's a thick, jelly-like mat of bacteria and mold. But by installing a UVC lamp to shine directly and continuously on those cold coils, you are deploying a biological weapon.
The mechanism here is incredible. The sources explain that the high-energy UVC light photons act like microscopic scissors. They physically slice through and shatter the molecular bonds of the mold's DNA.
The mold is instantly sterilized. It cannot reproduce, it cannot grow, and it cannot form that bioslime.
That's amazing.
The UVC light acts as continuous lethal sunshine inside the darkest, dampest part of your home's infrastructure, neutralizing 99.9% of airborne viruses and biological threats before they ever enter the newly cleaned ductwork.
So what does this all mean? When you synthesize all of this, the professional negative pressure extraction, upgrading the physics of your filtration with a MERV media filter, and deploying UVC light to destroy mold DNA, you are completely shifting the paradigm of homeownership.
You really are. You are no longer just reacting to a dusty vent or doing a chore. You are engaged in active environmental control.
You are engineering your indoor air to protect both the mechanical structure of the house and the physiological health of the family living inside it.
Which is the ultimate goal.
Absolutely. So for you listening right now, the final takeaway is incredibly clear. True home comfort isn't just about having the perfect couch or a spotless kitchen floor.
It is about the invisible environment you inhabit every single second of the day.
Yes, exactly. Professional residential air duct cleaning delivers demonstrably better airflow, tangibly lower energy bills by dropping that static pressure, and the profound peace of mind that comes with knowing the air your family breathes is pure.
It essentially transforms your home from a passive shelter into an active, protective ecosystem.
If you are ready to stop ignoring the hidden lungs of your house, you need to call the professionals at Hurricane Group Cumming, Reach them directly at 404-999-1605.
404-999-1605.
They have a stellar reputation built on over 800 five-star reviews because they actually understand the physics and biology we just discussed. They are your IICRC certified experts for residential air duct cleaning in Atlanta, Georgia. And they handle the entire holistic ecosystem from high-end home renovations to dryer vent cleaning and even the crawl space encapsulation required to permanently stop that stack effect. Again, give them a call at 404-999-1605.
You know, this entire analysis raises an important question. We spent this time detailing how an invisible system can silently accumulate years of toxic sludge, slowly suffocating the environment without us ever noticing until the pressure gets too high.
Right.
It forces you to look at the other invisible systems in our daily environment. You have to wonder how much silent clutter is accumulating in our digital habits or our daily mental routines.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
Perhaps our minds are desperately in need of their own kind of deep professional negative pressure clearing, a way to violently scour away the accumulated mental sludge and restore our own optimal airflow.
A mental HEPA filter and a negative pressure vacuum for the brain. I love that. I think we are all overdue for that kind of maintenance. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take a hard look at those vent covers. Give the experts a call. Remember to breathe easy and keep learning.